Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Business of Design Week 2022 Global Live.
Good evening. My name is Sarika Choi.
And I'm Vincent Chang. Let me begin by thanking our drummers for such a lovely performance.
And welcome to the summit of Business of Design Week 2022, Asia's premier event on innovation, design and brand, organized by the Hong Kong Design Center, supported by strategic partner, the Netherlands, Create NL, and lead sponsor, Create Hong Kong.
Whether you're watching on ViewTV6, BODW Plus, or other live streaming platforms, we welcome you to invite you and your friends to join us on Global Live.
And thanks for joining us.
Without further ado, let us invite our officiating guests to start off our opening ceremony.
And first, I would like to invite Mr. Clement Chung, General Manager of ViewTV.
Professor Kun Hoi Lee, Dean of School of Design of the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Dr. Lei Liang Ong, Principal of Hong Kong Design Institute and Hong Kong Institute of Vocational Education, BY Lee.
Mr. Flat Chan, Director of Information Services.
Mr. Victor Tsang, Head of Create Hong Kong.
Ms. Margaret Fong, Executive Director of Hong Kong Trade Development Council.
Mr. Victor Loh, Chairman of BODW 2022 Steering Committee and KODW Steering Committee.
Professor Eric Yim, JP, Chairman of Hong Kong Design Center.
Lastly, let's welcome Mr. Arjen van den Berg, Consul General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands.
Great. Now, guests, can you please take a step forward and join Professor Yim, Mr. Vandenberg, Mr. Loh, and Ms. Fong. And for Professor Yim, Mr. Vandenberg, Ms. Loh, and Ms. Fong, we'd like to have you to help us out with the opening ceremony.
Yes, we're gonna have the four of you become our newest drummers for tonight.
That's right. So now, please take a drumstick. And after the count of 3, we need you to help us to give a good hard strike on the drum. Are you all ready? At the count of 3. 3, 2, 1, go! Wow, thank you so much, everyone. And thanks once again for our officiating guests for helping us open the event.
If we could just get closer together for a picture to the front. The photographers are right in the middle. Make sure you smile pretty for them.
That's right. Thank you. And this year's BODW Summit is extra special. Not only does it celebrate the 20th anniversary of the event, but it also celebrates the 20th anniversary of Hong Kong Design Center. And it's an uncredited event celebrating the 25th anniversary of HKSAR's establishment. It's also the first time for the BODW Summit to be held here at the M+ Museum.
Now, if we could all have the guests on stage, remain on stage, and we would like to invite additional guests to join us for another photo.
First of all, we would like to invite Mr. Kevin Yeung, Chairman of Hong Kong Fashion Designers Association.
Ms. Mui Kinoshita, Chairman of Hong Kong Designers Association.
Mr. Wesley Lui, Representative of Guangzhou Design Week.
Mr. William To, Executive Director of PMQ.
Ms. Doris Fong, Head of Creative Industries of Invest Hong Kong.
Mr. Bart Asman, Managing Director of Click NL.
Ms. Iko Yokoyama, Lead Curator, Design and Architecture of M+.
Ms. Anna Marel van Strijk, Chair of Publication and PR Committee of the Dutch Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong.
Mr. Horace Poon, Chairman of Hong Kong Interior Design.
Professor Leslie Chen, VP. JP, Vice Chairman of the Hong Kong Federation of Design and Creative Industries.
Dr. Benson Cheung, Chairman of Chartered Society of Designers Hong Kong.
Lastly, Dr. Joseph Wong, Executive Director, Hong Kong Design Center.
That's right. So now may I have the first role of our officiating guest to make a step behind so that you can get closer to our guest from the back row, please. That's right. Take a step behind. Backwards. That's right. And now can look at our officiating photographer's camera.
For 20 years, BODW has assembled the world's greatest designers and creative thinkers to share their insights and vision. Every year, the talent and passion of our guests are spellbinding, and this year is no exception. We have over 90 visionaries from 14 countries and cities, with heavyweight speakers flown in from the Netherlands, our strategic partner, and as well as other parts of the world, so it promises to be an incredible event.
That's right, and thank you very much. Our guests on stage are officiating it. Thank you so much. Please take a seat and enjoy the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, now we are thrilled to share a pre-recorded message from our officiating guest, Mr. Chang Kwok-ki, Chief Secretary of the Administration of the Hong Kong Government.
Friends of BODW, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the Business of Design Week BODW 2022 and celebrate with you the 20th anniversary of this signature event. Over the past 2 decades, BODW has gained international recognition as an annual flagship event on design, innovation, and brands. The theme of this year's BODW is Design for Change. Over 90 international and local business and design leaders are joining us, in person and online, to make a change through exchanging design mindset and creative solutions for a sustainable future. I'm particularly pleased to learn that the Netherlands is the strategic partner of this year's BODW, bringing in distinguished speakers to share with local and global audience their insights into empowerment of design. In his maiden policy address, the Chief Executive has made it clear that the Hong Kong SAR government is committed to fostering Hong Kong's cultural development. It is integral to develop and enrich the platforms and ecosystems for our arts, cultural, and creative industries. And BODW is surely a prime platform among them. The government is therefore pleased to sponsor BODW and the concurrent events through Create Hong Kong again this year. Rest assured that we will spare no effort in developing Hong Kong into an East meets West center for international cultural exchange, leveraging the strong support from the National 14th Five-Year Plan and the strengthening cross-sector collaborations. Your design wisdom and involvement are vital to our success. On behalf of the Hong Kong SAR government, I commend the Hong Kong Design Center and the Hong Kong Trade Development Council for putting together this year's BODW. My big thank you also goes to the Netherlands, once again, as well as to Guangzhou Design Week, being the strategic regional partner and many other strategic partners of the event. I wish you all an enjoyable evening and BODW 2022 every success. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'd like to invite Professor Eric Yim, Chairman of Hong Kong Design Center, to say a few words.
Professor Yim, please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome you as we officially open Business of Design Week Summit 2022, organized by Hong Kong Design Center here at the stunning M+ Museum. As some of you may know, this year marks BODW and Hong Kong Design Center's 20th anniversary. We are humbled by how far our annual signature event has come as a global exchange platform for design and innovative ideas from around the world. Our theme, Design for Change this year, underlines the need for design to address the rapid changes of our time and lead the transformation to create a more sustainable and livable world for all. Today, BODW has grown into one of the most exciting and inspiring gatherings of design visionaries and creative business leaders from all over the world. Our purpose is to assemble great minds to explore topics that mirror our world's shared dreams, challenges, and trends. This year, we call for concerted effort to affect change through the power of design, in hopes that we can bring positive impact to our world and champion the way towards leaving a more habitable planet for future generations. We are delighted to have the Netherlands, one of the world's leading hubs for design and circular innovation, as our strategic partners for this year. We thank them for supporting us in bringing their talents to BODW, and some of whom we are fortunate to meet in person this year, such as Dr. Kung Otis, Mark Tempu, Nikki Gunderson, and Thomas Wethershoven, as they will be physically joining us live, together with a number of celebrated speakers from a total of 14 countries and cities. One of the cornerstones of BODW is fostering cross-sector exchange and collaboration. And we have had the privilege of working with some 12 partner countries and cities in the history of BODW. Tonight, we are kicking off the summit with fantastic conversations featuring the likes of Chiu-Eng Lo, Paul Thompson, and Paul Prisman, who will discuss intriguing topics such as what design for change truly means, how to build resilient communities amidst a climate crisis, and the future of transportation and mobility. Each of the enlightening sessions taking place from this evening until December 3rd will focus on 5 pillars: brand transformation, culture in the city, new urban models, meta living and metaverse, and social design innovation. In order to make the BODW Summit accessible to global audiences, our panel discussion will be available on live stream platforms and on our digital design knowledge platform, BODW+, with selected evening session broadcasters on Real TV. And of course, we welcome all of you to join us at BODW concurrent events and programs taking place across the city in these coming weeks. As Asia's premier event on design, innovation, and brands, BODW has fostered Hong Kong's position as an East Midwest Center for International Cultural and Business Exchange. We won't be able to do all of this without our partners. As always, we are grateful for the support of our lead sponsor, Create Hong Kong, of the Hong Kong SAR government, our co-organizer, Hong Kong Trade Development Council, and our sponsors and partners for helping us not only bring BODW 2022 to life, but for taking it to greater heights with more far-reaching impact year after year. Thank you all, and I hope you find the 20th anniversary edition of BODW to be inspiring, fruitful, and thought-provoking. Thank you, and have a very good evening.
Thank you so much, Professor Yim. Thank you. So, Vincent, it's actually a really special year this year because it marks the 20th anniversary of BODW.
I know, isn't that exciting?
Very
I'm looking
exciting.
forward to everything that's happening tonight and also the following week as well. And now we would like to invite Mr. Arjen van den Berg, Consul General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, on stage for a few words.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure to be here with you this evening to open the Business of Design Week Summit 2022. In the Netherlands, we have a quaint saying, actually more of an exclamation, that sounds hé. We say this when something you have been waiting eagerly for has finally come. Put the emphasis incorrectly, and you're mocking someone for finally having coming through on something they promised to do a while ago. Heh heh. So I'm not promoting a wide use of this saying here among you. But I use this exclamation to express my great excitement that the BODW Summit 2022 is finally here, and to express my happiness about the fact that we can have the summit in physical form again. And finally, how happy I am that we actually have Dutch designers and experts attending in person. Who would have thought? This year, the Netherlands, through Creative NL, entered into a strategic partnership with the Hong Kong Design Center. Through this partnership, we have been able to bring some excellent Dutch design to this year's Knowledge and Business Design Weeks. Koen Oldhuis, Nicky Gonnissen, Thomas Widdershoven are actually here to talk about design. And we have Thomas Hutten, Martijn Pool, Mariette Schreurs, and Eric Chan chiming in virtually. We also have with us here in Hong Kong Bart Asman, Pieter van Os, Daan van Eyck, Peter Jore, and Monique Knapen, each also experts in their fields, to talk about the art of, and business of design. And they are also here to talk about further strengthening our partnership for the BODW 2023. The Netherlands is very excited to team up with Hong Kong to bring Dutch design to this, the most important design event in the region. To the Dutch, design is about our collective effort to make our society circular. Dutch design is a way of thinking that focuses on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and reaching our target of net zero in our fight to adapt to climate change. It is about creating a society that doesn't just take away from the earth, but also gives back, that finds creative solutions to the challenges we face, and in doing so, make the world not only a better place, but a more beautiful place for generations to come. I take this opportunity to thank everybody at the Hong Kong Design Center, Eric Yim, Joseph Wong, Gillian Lee, and so many others, and you know who you are, for all their hard work, but also your great friendship. We are very much looking forward to the summit and this year to come. I wish us all a year of high creative adrenaline. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vandenberg.
Thank you. And over the last 20 years, BODW has taken pride in being the premier annual design event in Asia and gathering the most sought-after creative leaders in the world. It is accompanied by a series of concurrent events, including the BODW, City Prague, Design Inspire, Detour, and etc. It fosters a regional design network.
Now it's time to tell you more about the exciting programs of BODW 2022 Summit. Please take a look.
BODW, Design for Change 2022, is a forum to examine the most important topics in the world of contemporary design. We are highlighting the vision, leadership, trends, and creative energy shaping our future with some of the most renowned thinkers and makers from around the world. Our program consists of 5 themes. Brand transformation, which examines how brands evolve and stay relevant amid a changing world. Culture and the city, wherein design can help define the identity of a city, stimulate growth, and contribute to sustainable planning. Metaverse and meta living, examining how innovation in technology promise to reshape our digital landscape. New urban models, how architects and designers co-create new, sustainable practices that will benefit future generations. And social design innovation, how design can better respond to needs and create possibilities that will change the way we live and connect. 2022 marks the 20th anniversary of HKDC and BODW, a testament to its importance in showcasing the best leaders and creative talents from the design world, For 2 decades, we've sought to bring the best design wisdom to our international audiences, and this year is no different. Now then, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Business of Design Week Global Live, and we have an incredible slate of programs ready for you. And to start our summit, we're presenting a master roundtable discussion.
That's right, Sarika. The creative leaders and design visionaries will highlight the vision and leadership needed to design to become a force for good, drawing on the theme of this year's summit, Design for Change.
Absolutely, so let's not waste any time and get right into it.
Design for change means asking tough questions about global challenges like climate change, waste, and pollution. It is imperative that we shift our thinking to encompass sustainable and renewable strategies. How do designers and architects adapt to the current situation and lead the way to sustainable future? This roundtable discussion sets out to answer tough questions about these challenges. Are designers doing enough, and how can designers empower the change we need? To help us answer, we'll hear from some of the foremost designers and creatives in the world. Dr. Paul Thompson has brought 3 decades of knowledge to his role as Vice Chancellor of the Royal College of Art. Since 2009, he has instigated strategic shift in the vision of the institution and created new programs in environmental architecture and city design, leading to a substantial expansion of the School of Architecture. Nikki Honneson is co-founder of Tonic, a multidisciplinary design studio in Amsterdam, which manages to connect important institutions in the public domain with a new, younger, and more diverse audience. Chi Wing Lo is the founder at Dimensione Chi Wing Lo. His work encompassed the fields of architecture, sculpture, interior, furniture, and object design, and have long been recognized for their advocativeness, gratefulness, and meticulousness. Leading the discussion will be Delicia Tan, CEO of Alderman Hong Kong, and Greater Bay Area and Asia Pacific Chair of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and really excited to be moderating this evening's Master Roundtable, where we will be talking about the BODW 2023 team, Design for Change. So lovely to see you, Chi Wing, Nikki, and Paul. Welcome to Hong Kong. So to kick us off, I think let's discuss the topic, Design for Change. Chi Wing, maybe if you could kick us off, does design really have the power to drive change?
I think today, in this context, design is very important because we are working with this media, this tool, as a way to change the world for better. So I would say, within our context here, yes. But I think design for change may sound like a slogan. I would say design for improvement. And with that, we mean that we're working with what we have and improve upon what we have. It's like a relay. Our previous generation has passed to us something concrete we must improve upon for the next generation. Whether we're tackling environmental issues or global warming or this thing, I think it's still valid that we are actually designed for improvement.
Paul, I noticed you were agreeing there. Your thoughts on design for change, since you're an educator and really it's about nurturing the next generation for you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the kind of the sort of the little shift, the pivot there from change to improvement. I was thinking progress. We don't have much time. I think that we are in a very, very difficult and challenging situation globally, and I don't think we have a huge amount of time left for us to really start moving fast and very progressively. And I think I agree with Chi. I think designers play a fundamental role in coming up with creative solutions to the evidence-based data that we're now confronted with.
Yeah, Nikki, would you like to build on that? So many factors that can really make a difference from a good design perspective. So would love your point of view on that as well.
Yeah, well, I agree, obviously, with both gentlemen. But we do need to change our attitude. I do think that's really important, that we need to start a real collaboration and that we look beyond everybody's own benefit and look what is really needed for a fundamental change or improvement.
So collaboration is actually key. Chi Wing, if I come back to you, you've recently worked on a number of projects, where you've worked with businesses, you've worked with the public and the private sector. How key is getting on the same page to drive that collaboration?
The most important power a designer has is the ability to relax. What I meant is that you must be able to develop critical thinking. Not all the commission in front of you are for the betterment of humanity. You may mostly participate in a kind of consumption and this cycle of things that build just come and go. And I think that will be a little bit of a waste. And I think to be able to push design to make a really significant change, I think one has to really engage not just the designer, but also the public to address really the problem that we face today, beyond a kind of a commercial, economic system that we have to be continuous to support.
Yeah. Nikki, how do you make sure your design voice is heard when you're working on, a specific commission and there's a specific brief that you need to deliver against? How do you make sure that you're continuing to push the boundaries to show what design can really do?
Well, we always stress the fact that we are there to collaborate, that it's not about competition, because everything is about competition instead of collaboration, which is the opposite. So if we say this is important and we need to share each other's knowledge, then we show other values than only the economic, like you also said, like passion and care and empathy, that we understand each other. And then a different sort of energy comes forward.
Yeah,
and in that sense, I do think that designers play an important role because they have the freedom to look out of the box. They have the freedom to, they have the curious mentality, they are open, and they have this creative power to make things and experiment. And then together with the knowledge of, all the different fields, it comes, then we can make an impact, I'm sure.
Indeed. So Paul, would you like to build on that? So for good design to really improve lives and make a significant impact, collaboration is at the heart of it all. What do you think can drive that positive collaboration?
I think a recognition of the fact that the complexity of some of the projects that the designers and architects are working on today is so evident. I mean, these are very, very complicated projects. Just look at this extraordinary building that we're in here today. I mean, a very, very complicated, complex piece of urban planning, placemaking, architecture. I do think designers enjoy moving and mixing and rubbing shoulders with different practices. And I think that the best way that we can stimulate that is by getting collaborative teams together, particularly teaching the young designers of tomorrow, that they will be working with engineers, they will be working with town planners, they'll be working with social scientists, with politicians, with finance. And explaining to them very early on in their career that it is going to be a very multifaceted approach because that's the way the world and the systems that the world rotates around are these days.
Indeed.
I think to add on Paul's a very interesting expansion towards that direction is that, sometimes I see myself like a housewife, a gardener, psychologist, a cook, all kinds of things that you have to involve yourself to understand the kind of problem we face today and how people live, taking different roles and what kind of problem they face, and you, from design, how to solve those problems. Not just to change the color, make a very interesting shape. For me, this is become more and more irrelevant today, I think.
Yeah. Chewing, in our previous conversations, you talked a little bit about design not being at the forefront, but sometimes having to be silent to really drive the change or effectiveness. Your thoughts on design either standing right in front or really playing a quiet, stealthy, supporting foundational role?
Now, I guess every one of you here is very capable to design something to be very attractive. And the object you design is always kind of have a voice to say, please look at me, I'm beautiful. I think you're all capable of that. But I think most important is that when a design is silent, it's actually taking a role that only when you need, it comes forward. It means that it stays at the background. It's not always at the forefront. Take, for example, furniture. Furniture never exists alone. Look at here. There are many together. If everybody is trying to speak very loudly and very differently, it's very difficult to get them into the same tune.
Indeed. Nikki, any thoughts on Chewing's symphony of design?
Well, I love the notion of emptiness and about silence. I do think we also need that. We need to take care of our environment and the nature, our planet. That's where we're talking about. And then sometimes you have to take a step back. So I understand what you say.
Paul, I'm going to throw this one to you.
I mean, I love this idea of where the designer sits in the process. I mean, obviously, we would always advocate quite up early stage, so that a lot of those production and decisions are taken with the designer in mind. But I'm also interested in the sort of, because this is Business of Design Week, in those very successful partnerships between the CEO and the chief design. I look at, what is the relationship between Ratan Tata, the Indian billionaire, and Jerry McGovern, head of design at Jaguar Land Rover? How is it that Logitech, the big Swiss US company, has this very, very clear dual partnership? You don't quite know the yin and the yang between the CEO and the chief creative officer there, Barbara Arendt and Christopher Bailey, when they were at Burberry. There's something, I think, very intriguing when you get that right, Johnny Ive and Steve Jobs. When you can get that relationship working really, really well, they're kind of moving in symphony, in concert, in a very, 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 very powerful way, I think.
Yeah, so partnership is really key.
Yeah, but it's also daring. I mean, I think businesses need to make choices. It's about taking a step and really reach out to designers who are making a difference and not making mediocre, things which a large crowd of people do understand. It is about engagement, but they have to look for it. We have to look for each other and then really make this connection.
I mean, I love Yvonne Chouinard, the founder and owner of Patagonia, where he actually said, I'm handing the company over to planet Earth. What a wonderful, powerful statement that is.
It is.
Incredible business paradigm shift there.
Indeed. Speaking about paradigm shifts, I want to bring us to the next generation of designers. Gen Z or Gen Z seems to be a buzzword these days from a business, retail, consumer perspective. Paul, perhaps if you kick us off, the Gen Z designer of the here and now and the designers of the future, your thoughts on how this generation will make an impact on design and how we either foster that or how we continue to guide that conversation.
Well, I think Gen Z, certainly in UK and Northern Europe, is in a very sort of strange position because there is a skills and a job shortage. So they can demand what our generation in a recession could never demand when we came out of university. It's quite a strange, I think, temporary situation. I think that what won't change, however, is their need for social purpose. I think that this generation is not prepared to work just for the next IPO, just for the next whatever. I think they have a very, very different mindset, a different attitude towards life and work. We know that from kind of, post-COVID, where they work, where they want to work, at home typically. I think a lot of us in the creative sector of my generation feel a bit worried about that and think that, you need to all be in the same place. Creativity, collaboration, all these attributes that we've been talking about should not be practiced or can't be practiced down a Zoom line from your studio apartment. So I think we've got something to kind of work out there a bit. But I think that the generation itself is going to be very, very minded to move fast. This is an impatient generation. We've not seen this kind of, I would say, impatience from the kind of postgraduate community, probably since the 1960s.
Indeed.
Well, the conscious generations, they are. I mean, my daughter, she's 20 and she's so conscious about everything she does.
Yeah.
And she's also questioning me all the time. So, but you do see that the younger generation, well, it would also be good for businesses if they really change in that way, because the younger people don't accept it anymore. So
Nick, I'll come to you, Chi-Wing.
Please.
I know you're very excited to share your thoughts on that symphony there. But Nikki, again, a lot of your work also involves multi-generational considerations to drive design. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about how making sure you consider multi-generations in the work that you do is really important.
Put them on the in an early stage on the decision-making table. So we need all those generations, we need the cultures, and we need the disciplines, of course. So, and in an early stage, everybody should be involved when it comes to developing new policies across all fields. And because we learn from each other. We see that in schools, if we, teachers not longer pass us information to the younger, they learn us so much because they're digital natives. They know so much more than we do. But we have maybe a sort of, the knowledge of the past, which we can share with them. And if there is this sort of common ground, we learn from each other. And we, I think also the younger people, they want it.
Indeed.
I mean, I never feel complex situations when I'm with others. I enjoy,
Yeah, really considering the various elements. Chi-Wing, over to you and Gen Z and the future of design.
I have 2 children there in this generation. I look at their life, I look at their aspiration, and I try to compare theirs with ours when I was in their age. I would say the obvious difference is that today's world is so connected together because of, the social media, the kind of connectivity through all kinds of platforms. So I think that part of it, their vision, of course, depends on what they read, what they come across. Their vision definitely have expanded a lot, much more than in my generation. And I think that part of it, perhaps they become far more knowledgeable in certain direction, and their pursuit of their interests sometimes very mature in their young age. So that part of it, I think, as what Nikki said, it's important to bring them on board whenever we come to this kind of decision for the world, for design, for creativity. I totally agree.
Yeah. So what can we do to catalyze the Hong Kong next generation of young designers? Chewing, you've spent a good bit of time back here, so I'd love to hear your point of view, and Nikki's and Paul's as well.
Now, I will carry on the conversation about, today we're very connected with social media. It's sort of falling into the saying of Andy Warhol, say, everybody will be famous for 5 minutes. It means that, through those media, everybody has a chance to put themselves forward. Unlike our generation, we're waiting to be discovered. If we are good, one day you'll be discovered. Today is not. Everybody put themselves forward, good or bad, talent or otherwise. So they have this pool of things that people in front of you with diverse capability and interests. And so because of that context, as a young designer, as a young creative person, you really, really have to develop a very critical mind and thinking. Eventually, that critical mind thinking will drive you towards your influence the people around you positively. Because I believe today's the client that you work with, they may not be thinking the way you are. But I think for those expansion of knowledge that you have, that sphere of influence that you have, perhaps you're more capable to make a change.
Indeed. Nikki, your thoughts? How do we nurture these young designers now that competition is rife and everyone's online?
Well, it was great to see all those young designers on stage yesterday at the Design for Asia Award. And, well, it's great to be here in M+, because these cultural values we should all share. And it's super that it's open for everybody. Young people will come as well. And I do think cultural values and human values are so important instead of the commercial ones. I mean, of course, we like shopping, businesses are important.
Indeed.
But there's so much more we have to share. And I do think, that also for the, younger people also feel fears, in this difficult world. It's very uncertain, like we all do. And if we show each other that it's normal to, and those things you can see in those beautiful exhibitions, because then you're connected with all those emotions.
Indeed, thank you.
There's more nuance to it.
And your parting shot, Paul?
Well, I'm going to sort of look at the other end of the spectrum, which is aging populations. I mean, yes, we have got Gen Z, and they are very particular, but we know that in post-industrialized nations, we have aging populations, and we have to design for intergenerational cities. We did a wonderful project, actually, at Royal College of Art and Hong Kong Poly U, looking at intergenerational living in high-rise buildings. So I think we have to design for everybody. And I think we have to work in tightly connected, intergenerational ways as much as possible, because, we are going to have an increasingly aging population across the entire globe.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for your points of view. Chewing, one last parting shot from you before we wrap.
No, I think thank you so much for this opportunity to share, with my panelists next to me and you in this very special occasion. I'm optimism. I'm full of optimism in projecting the possibility and opportunity that you have in the future. I think the kind of change you're facing today, if you look at just COVID, and maybe, 20, 30 years later, you look back, maybe just this a minor instance in the span of history. Mm-hmm. We're not in an industrial revolution. We're not after Second World War. No. But also we should not use the COVID as a way that is like before Christ and after Christ, that kind of change. But I think we continue to live, we continue to be optimistic, and I think I will say that that part of it is so much more important. I cannot create without being optimistic. So I think that part.
But you are a
brings me
designer. That's why.
Thank you.
Indeed. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the Roundtable panel. I think this has been a great conversation to kick off the whole week of discussion on design for change. So many elements that we've covered off today: the power of design, the role of collaboration, working across business and the public sector, and bringing everyone to the table to really make sure that design does not only change, but is also inclusive and constantly evolving. So that's a wrap, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, and what a great start to our program.
Indeed, and it's only the beginning. Join us after the break for another fascinating discussion.
That's right. Our next session will be about new methods in urban planning and construction. See you soon.